Question 17. Ali has two solid cones made from the same type of material. The two solid cones are mathematically similar. The base of cone A is a circle with a diameter 80 centimeters. The base of cone B is a circle with a diameter of 160 centimeters. Ali uses 80 milliliters of paint to paint cone A. Ali is going to paint cone B. Part A says work out how much paint in milliliters he will need. So the surface area of the big cone compared to the small cone is actually 4 times bigger. Okay, so the surface area of this cone is actually 4 times the area of this little cone. So the ratio is actually 1 to 2 squared, or 1 to 4, and I'll just show you, try and explain why. So let's pretend we had a cube, and it was 2 centimeters by 2 centimeters by 2 centimeters by 2 centimeters. Okay, that means each face is 4 centimeters squared, and there are 6 faces, so the surface area of this cube is going to be 4 times 6, which is 24 centimeter squared. Now let's double the size of the cube. So now let's make it 4 by 4 by 4 centimeters. So the surface area doesn't just double. Okay, you have to times it by 4. So watch this. So 4 times 4 is 16. So one face is 16 centimeters squared. And you've got to times that by 6, as there's 6 faces. So the surface area of this cube is 96 centimeter squared. Now that's 4 times the size of this surface area. Okay, so even though this is just double, the surface area is actually 4 times bigger than that. Okay, so the question is, work out how much paint in milliliters he will need. So if it takes 80 milliliters to do the small cone, and the big cone is 4 times bigger than that, that's going to be 80 milliliters multiplied by 4, which is 320 milliliters. And that's the final answer. So part A is worth 2 marks. The first one is a method mark for seeing some sort of scale factor of 4, or multiplying 80 by 4. So basically realizing that this is 4 times the surface area of this. Okay, so you can see that here. And the second mark is for an answer of 320 milliliters. Okay, so the volume of cone A is 171,700 centimeter cubed. Part B says work out the volume of cone B. Okay, so, so there are 2 ways of doing this. The volume of the small cone is 171,700 centimeters cubed, and the large cone is twice as big, but this time the scale factor is 8, so the volume is actually 8 times bigger. So the ratio of the small cone compared to the big cone is actually 1 to 2 to the power of 3, which is 1 to 8, and I'll just try and show you why. I'm going to use the example of the cube again. So I've got a 2 by 2 by 2 cube, and I hope you would agree that the volume of that cube would be 2 times 2 times 2, which gives us 8 centimeters cubed. Now let's just double the size of the cube and make it 4 by 4 by 4, and watch what happens to the volume. So 4 times 4 is going to be 16. 16 times 4 is going to be 64. So the volume of this cube, which is just twice as big, is going to be 64 centimeters cubed. So you can see there's a scale factor of 8 here, okay? Scale factor of 8, so it's 8 times larger. So, if the small cone is this volume here, that means 171,700 multiplied by 8 gives us the volume of the large cube. 171,700 multiplied by 8 is going to be 137,000 1,373,600. 1,373,600. And that is the final answer. Part B is worth 3 marks. And the first one is a method mark for seeing a scale factor of 8, or ratio of 1 to 8, or 1 to 2 to the power of 3. So that's worth 1 mark here. The second mark is a method mark for multiplying the volume of cone A by 8. And the third mark is for the answer of 1,373,600 centimeter cubed. Now I'm just going to attempt to show you the other way that you could have done this question as well, which also could have got you 3 marks. So if I scroll down, now the formula for a volume of a cone is 1/3, or let's not do that, let's do this one, pi r squared, which gives you the area of the base, multiplied by height, perpendicular height. That will give you a volume of a cylinder, and then the cone is going to be 1/3 of that, so I'm going to divide by 3, or you can multiply that by 1/3. So if we look at the volume of a cone, the pi r squared would give you the area of the circle face, multiplied by the height. That would give you the volume of a full cylinder, and because it's a cone, that's only 1/3 of the volume of the whole cylinder. Okay, so that's how the formula works. Now the question is this: cone A has this volume, work out the volume of cone B. So we could find out height of cone A first of all. So let's use the formula. The volume of the small cone is 171,700 centimeters cubed equals pi. R in this case for the small cone is 40, half of the diameter. So 40 squared multiplied by the height, which we're trying to find, all divided by 3. So we're going to have to multiply both sides by 3 first of all. So 171,700 times by 3 is 515,100 is equal to pi. 40 squared is 1,600 times by height. So therefore height is going to equal 515,100 divided by pi times 1,600. So therefore height is equal to, just type that into my calculator, divided by pi times 1,600. So the height of the small cone is 102.475 centimeters. Okay, Now, as both of the cones are similar, we know that the height is going to double for the larger cone. So of the large cone is going to be 102.475 times 2, which is 204. So let me just write this in a different colour. So the height of the large cone is going to be 102.475 times by 2, so 204.9517 centimetres. Now, what was the question? The question was, work out the volume of cone B, the larger cone. Now that we've got the height, we can use the formula one last time. So the volume of a cone equals pi r squared multiplied by the height divided by 3, or times by 1/3. So the volume equals pi r is, for the large cone, half of 160, the diameter, which is 80. So 80 squared multiplied by the height, 204.9517, all divided by 3. So the volume equals pi times by 80 squared times 204.9517 equals that divided by 3. So the volume of the large cone is 137,359.97 centimeters cubed. Okay, and that is 1,373,599.47 centimeters cubed. So part B was worth 3 marks, and I'll show you where you get the 3 marks for the second method. The first one comes from finding the height. The second one comes from timesing the small height by 2 and then using that to find the volume. And the third one is for the correct answer. Now, you might have noticed the actual answer is 1,373,600. So why am I missing a tiny bit here? That's because I rounded off at this point. Okay, there's actually a few more numbers on the end there, which affected my height of the cone by minuscule amounts, but it has affected the final answer by a tiny bit. Okay, so really this would be a slightly longer number here. But there's your 3 marks, and that's it for question 17.